Hey guys, my name is Franklin Lorenzo. Welcome back to my channel. As promised, today I'm going to talk to you about my trip to Bali, Indonesia, and everything that surrounds it. Let's start with the first thing, which is a SIM card for data. Many people will tell you to get your SIM card outside of the airport and away from touristy areas. That way you will save a lot of money. However, I did try that approach, and ultimately, long story short, it took me about 3 days to finally get a SIM card. So looking back, I will most likely next time I go there would buy a SIM card right at the airport and avoid that whole hassle. Yes, you will be spending more money, but we're not talking a significant amount of money anyway. As far as I remember, you can buy SIM cards anywhere between 1 gigabyte for about 7 days, which can range from $5 to about $6, and you can get upwards of 20, 30, 40, 50, even 70 gigabytes, which can put you anywhere between 40 American dollars and about 65 American dollars. Now, if you rather go without the SIM card and you just want to disconnect and enjoy everything Bali has to offer, you can always log into your hotels or hostels Wi-Fi. There's a lot of stores, restaurants that have complimentary Wi-Fi, so you could do it that way. One thing that I definitely do recommend people do is if you use Google Maps, you can download practically all of the areas that you're going to be in Bali so that all that information is offline and you don't have to worry whether or not you have an internet connection, which that ended being a situation for myself when I went to Nusa Penida. While I did have connection there, it was very spotty. Sometimes it was not even there at all. So since I had already downloaded the map of the entire island onto my phone, I was able to visit all of the locations that I had previously saved without any issues. Now let's talk about transportation. One of the things that I watch the most on YouTube regarding transportation in Bali is that they recommend that you either use taxis or get a scooter or get a driver. But I wanted to drive my own car, so I'm going to expand on this. If you have not driven or are not comfortable driving in a foreign country, do know that if your license is not in the language of that country, you will need an international driver's license. And a lot of people misunderstand what that means. You just simply need to have your current license translated officially into the language of where you're visiting. Here in New York, I ended up paying $20 to have my New York driver's license translated into Indonesian. And do note, you have to have that document with you every time you're operating any motor vehicle. At the end of the day, the police there, they really don't bother people, but if they want to make a quick buck, they will pull you over, and if you don't have it, they will issue you a fine, but that's something that you can typically get out of by offering a little bit of cash. If you know you're going to be in one location, honestly, you don't really need to rent any vehicle or a driver. You could very well get away with just getting a bike, or you can walk to places, or you simply stop taxis whenever you see one. But do know taxi drivers over there will take advantage because you definitely will look like a tourist, and they're going to ask you sometimes triple, 4 times, and even higher of what the actual cost is. So don't be afraid to bargain. Now, if you are comfortable driving a scooter, that will be one of the most affordable ways to get around in the island, and it's super fun as well. You can get a scooter anywhere between $1.50 per day. I'm not talking 2-3 hours, we're talking an entire 24-hour day, up to about $4 for the whole day, which honestly is not a lot of money. But do know that traffic over there gets really heavy, and the more comfortable you are using them, the better. I personally always requested scooters that had the mount so I could put my phone, and yes, I tighten it very securely, very tight, that it would take a lot of effort for somebody to yank it off in case they wanted to steal it. And every time we also stop at a red light or any heavy traffic, I would always keep my hand on the phone so that way anybody would not get any ideas. Now, the downside with the scooter is that if it rains, you're getting wet. Yes, you can buy those plastic ponchos that will protect you, but at the end of the day, it's not safe and it's not fun either. So that leads me to your second option, which would be to book a driver. And honestly, that is probably the best option, even for those of you who are like me, wanted to drive their own car. Now, why do I say this? One, with the car and with the driver, with gas and everything else in between, we were paying roughly $33 for the whole day. And the good thing about that is that the driver knew all of the spots, knew where to turn to avoid traffic, or if we hit traffic, we would often get out of the car and walk to the destination while he took care of parking and waiting for us. And one of the things that had me very concerned is, were my personal belongings going to be safe in the vehicle? And thankfully, we had no issues with our driver. I will link his name and number somewhere in this video. He was very respectful, very professional, very friendly, and we felt that we could trust him, and thankfully, nothing happened. So definitely that would be a good way to go. Now, if you do want to rent your own car, that is an option, which I also did by the same company where I got the driver. And I did ask for an automatic vehicle, and it was brand new. And I believe with the conversion, I was going to be paying about $55 for an entire 24-hour period, which honestly is not bad at all. But something happened in my trip where we were no longer going to go to a specific area of the island, which is pretty far away from all of the popular locations. And ultimately, I ended up calling the company and I told them that I was not going to be needing the car. Now, when it comes to hotels, Bali caters to literally every budget. So you can literally spend between $2, $3, $4 for a hostel that you're going to be sharing with other people. And you can find everything in between, being modest to being in the middle to luxury. I particularly was using Expedia to book all of my hotels, and I had no issues with that whatsoever. Now, gear. This is, I guess, one of the most important things for me as a content creator, and I'm guessing for you if you're watching this video. And the funny thing is that I now have traveled to 56 countries and over 14 cities at this point. And despite having so much experience, I was still feeling unsure as to what to bring with me. So I made a post on my social media, and one of my friends, Michael, suggested that I definitely bring a wide-angle lens, whether it was a 14mm or a 14-24 or a 16-35. But I did not want to bring so many lenses. That would have entailed that I would pack 4 lenses, and I just wanted to bring 3. That being said, I chose to bring the Canon RF 28-70 along with the 70-200 f2.8, and a little surprisingly, I brought the RF 800mm at f11. Long story short, I did regret not bringing the wide angle lens, so Michael, you were right. However, by taking multiple shots with my camera in a very steady form, I was able to create panoramas through stitching in Photoshop later on. However, I do not regret bringing the 800mm lens because I had specific shots that I wanted to capture, which you will see somewhere along this video. And it was all about capturing the people working in the rice fields, as well as capturing some of the surfers, since I knew it was a popular sport over there. An action camera will be something super important for you to bring. In my case, I brought an Insta360 camera, and I think that was the one device that I used the most, and I was quite surprised about that. I also brought a stabilizer for my iPhone, which is the DJI Osmo 6, which I only used once, and it was literally on the last day. So moving forward, I doubt that I will bring it again. The iPhone already has pretty good IS, so I don't know. Unless you have a very specific need for it or specific use for it, bring it, otherwise leave it at home. Another thing that I brought that I super regretted was my DJI Mini 3 Pro. I bought it brand new right before the trip, and I never used it. I felt that between my camera, my iPhone, and the 360, I simply did not have time to juggle another device. And on top of that, I think because I've never flown it before, I never felt comfortable trying to fly for the first time in a location that I've never been before and potentially lose it. I also brought with me a Profoto B10, which I did use a lot, But looking at all of my photos now, I could have gotten away with not bringing it. And that's saying something because I love using flash in most of my photography. But if you're not really going to work with people, then you don't have to bring a flash at all. Just want to jump in here real quick to say that if you want to travel light as far as camera and lenses go, and you only want to bring one lens, then I would recommend either the 24-105 at f4 or the one that I'm biased towards, which would be the Canon EF 28-300. Moving on to the food, it was delicious, it was fresh, it was refreshing, it felt healthy, and it was affordable. For the most part, I was spending between $2 American to, I would say, about $8 American per meal. And that's me having other drinks like beer or smoothie or something of that nature. And obviously we did go to a few luxury spots and we ended up spending more. Makes sense. And yes, they have food for literally every type of diet. So if you're vegan, you will find places. If you're vegetarian, you'll find places. If you're pescatarian, etc., you will find places. Now moving on to massages, oh my God, I was getting a massage to get a massage, if you know what I mean. It was so affordable and the people were so nice and they were eager to make you relax. Every place was super professional. None of them offer any of those endings, if you know what I mean. And it just made me feel more at ease going into any of them. We were spending anywhere between $6 and $10 on average per massage, which was about an hour. And I believe I paid about $15 for a 4-hands massage, which was also amazing. So if you go there, definitely treat yourself to a lot of massages if you're into that. And last but not least, do not be afraid to bargain over there. We would often go to places, and again, because we look like tourists, they were definitely trying to increase the value of any item. For example, I wanted to buy sunglasses, and I think the seller was trying to sell me the glasses for, I think, $8 American, which again is not a lot of money, but I knew he was trying to charge me more. So my tactic was to walk away. I would not get into arguments. I would not try to persuade them. I'm like, yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. So I would walk away. The moment they see that you're walking away and you're committed to that walk, then suddenly they drop the price, let's say from $8 to $6. And you say, yeah, no, thank you. And they will continue to drop it until you find something that will make you happy, but they're still making a profit. And that's pretty much it. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comment section below. I would definitely answer to any questions that you guys make. And if you like this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting the bell notification. And like always, take care.